Okay, so before I go any further, I just want to give a shout to Discover for doing the right thing and going, in my opinion, above and beyond. You'll find out here that Discover came to the rescue when Tool Source would not give me a pickup ticket to have the UPS come to my home to pick up the tool. They sent me an error, their mistake, and wanted me to go out of my way, which I didn't have the time with work. So Discover actually said that they would pay, if I used my Discover card, they would pay to have it shipped back to Tool Source. It was $13 and something. And I asked the lady, so you're going to back charge Tool Source? They said, no, we're just going to do this as a favor to you because I've been a good customer. So I want to give Discover a big thank you on that. They went above and beyond what they needed to do. And Tool Source, you should be ashamed of yourself. You screwed up. It was up to you to get that tool returned, not hold me hostage. So I just wanted to say that before I go any further with the video. Thank you, Discover. So I ordered from Tool Source this 3/8" drive standard and deep length metric dual socket set. They were thin walls, gray pneumatic. And I did this over the phone. And when I ordered this, it was ordered over the phone. And the other item that I ordered along with that was also a gray pneumatic, the 3/8" drive 6-point standard and deep length metric master set. So the reason that I ordered from Tool Source was that I called Gray Pneumatic, and they said that I had to buy the gray pneumatic sockets from an authorized dealer. And the Tool Source apparently is the only online source that is authorized. There are other stores that are authorized that are brick and mortar. And further, the lady at Gray Pneumatic said that if I did not get the tool from an authorized source of the gray pneumatic sockets, they wouldn't not be warranted. I asked about Amazon, and she said, well, you know, they can't guarantee anything, because to get a socket from Gray Pneumatic warranted, you have to go back to the original people you ordered from. And I asked them, well, what if they're out of business? And they said, well, they would deal with it at that time. That's what the lady at Gray Pneumatic said. And again, you have to purchase the sockets, Gray Pneumatic sockets, from a authorized dealer. And so I thought, well, I would go to Tool Source to do that. So when I got this box that was 22 1/4 by 7.5 by 6 inches, I knew right away there could not be a socket set or sets in that. Well, I opened it up, and this is what I got. A 1/2" locking ratchet. Says on their limited lifetime warranty, so I'm not sure what that means. Obviously it's limited. Limited to what? But this is what I got. Okay, so mistakes happen. We all make them. So the mistake wasn't a big deal, but it's how you handle the mistake and take care of your customer that to me is the big deal. So the sockets that I ordered came to $185.04. Now I asked them how much was the socket they sent me, or the ratchet here, and they said it was $65.22. So I called up the next day, spoke to a Laura. I asked for a supervisor, spoke to Laura the next day and just told them what the issue was. And she said that, well, she'll have to notify the warehouse and see what they wanted and see what they're going to do. So, of course, my thing was, well, what do you mean, see what they want to do? Aren't you just going to send me out a new one and then, just take back the other one, but send me out a brand new, a new order? And I said, I'd really like it sent out today. And she said she couldn't do that. They'd have to see what their warehouse wants to do. So after about 2.5 hours of no response, I called back, because I find that sometimes companies have other things on their mind, and you have to keep a fire under them and call them back and see what the situation is. And she said that she still hasn't heard back from them. Said she probably may not hear back from them. And she kept saying she emails them. I said, why don't you just call them? She says, no, well, that's how we do it. We email them. Okay, this was on the very next day after I received the order. She said, we email. So you'd think they would call, get a faster response, because who knows how many times they look at emails. So that was basically it. And for the first day, and I told her, I said, I'd really want this thing sent out today. And I asked her how they would send it out. If they could expedite it, she said it would be sent the same way that this was sent, which was ground, UPS ground. So the next day, I waited, and I called them up in the morning, because I thought, well, what's going on? And, I'm thinking they should have found something out by then. And she said she was still waiting to find out. Well, in my conversation with Laura there at Tool Source, I find out by asking questions, because I still can't figure out why they're not calling. I said, well, could I have their number and let me speak to them? She said, no, you can't. And she says, we can't even call. So I find out that Tool Source basically is an office, and the warehouse is out of state that they don't even own. And I asked her, so this is more or less, you're just a third party that takes the orders and gives them to some warehouse that they have nothing to do with the tools. They're just taking in orders. They're making money off people that are just taking in orders. And it's not like they were even warehousing anything. It's a separate entity that does that. So at that point, I said, well, I'm thinking about maybe just canceling the order. Now here's what she told me. She said, if you cancel the order, they would refund my card the difference between $185.04 and the $65.22. So they would only credit my card for $119.82. And they would keep $65.22 on the card until they received back the ratchet that they made a mistake on. So they were going to hold their customer at bay and responsible basically for a ratchet, for an item that they made a mistake on. I wasn't returning it because I wasn't happy with it. I didn't want it. And they, at that point, when I called the second day in the morning, they were not forthcoming with being able to tell me when I would receive the sockets, when they would send them out, how they would handle it, which I think is, I'll be honest, piss poor. So, and to hold me responsible and at bay for their $65.22 ratchet till I got back to them was just clearly unacceptable to me. So I called my credit card, Discover. They always take care of me, and I explained the situation to the lady in disputes. I disputed the full amount of $185.04. I further told her what they wanted to do. She said, no, that's not acceptable. And she said they were going to put a freeze so they could not charge anything between $0 and $2,000. So she said, and that was going to go until, like, I think February of 2020. So anyways, I wasn't going to let them play me like that. I didn't want their tool. They can have it back, but I wasn't going to allow them to hold that $65.22. It just wasn't going to happen. So I called back Tool Source, spoke to Laura,
and basically told her how I was going to play it, and that was unacceptable, and that it was going to be handled by Discover. That's just the way it is. I wasn't going to, just wasn't going to let them do that. And I told her that I don't want the ratchet. You can have it back. And, pick it up at my house. I don't have time to deliver it. It's your problem, your mistake. Pick it up from my home and have UPS pick it up, and you can have it back. But here's a little food for thought, Tool Source. Amazon has excellent, superlative customer service. What little times I have an issue, and I order a lot from them, they take care of it. They're just unbelievable. They don't hold me at bay for an item. They don't try to hold me hostage. They take care of the problem. And they just don't screw around. So maybe you guys need to call Amazon, Tool Source, call Amazon, find out how customer service is actually done. Because you guys aren't worth a rat's ass. I'm going to tell you that right now. And I did a Google search, and I found out quite a few people that have had customer service issues. So I am not the first, guaranteed. So anyways, Laura, next time, please treat your customers with respect. And just take care of the customer. I will never order anything from Tool Source. Buyer beware when you deal with Tool Source. So this is the address for Tool Source, okay? Out of New York. Now when they sent me the information to return the tools, you see it's going to this place here out of Altoona, PA, which, as Laura said, has to be their warehouse. So what she says was correct, in that Tool Source is just a third party that takes orders and then transfers them to another source that actually takes care of the tools. So this is where that tool was going back to. And if you see here, it'll say Mid-States Tool and Supply Incorporated is located in Altoona, PA, is a warehouse distributor serving the automotive and industrial tool and equipment markets nationally and internationally with in-depth inventories of automotive and industrial tools, equipment, and auto supplies. So that kind of tells me why their Tool Source is extremely hesitant or could not get the tool shipped out the same day. They have no control, and they couldn't themselves even make a phone call. They said they're not allowed to. They can't. Everything they do is done by email.